From the banks of Dewey Lake, it's the Dewey Pod Monster.
All right, welcome back. My name is John, and this is the Dewey Pod Monster podcast. This is a weekly podcast, and it is about consumption. We are, of course, proud members of the You Run Podcast Network. You can find all of our old episodes, all of our new episodes, and all the other great shows on the You Run Podcast Network at yourunpodcast.com. With me this week is the host of the Dewey Pod Monster podcast, and his name is Sean. And Sean, how are you doing today?
John, I've been told that I'm like sunshine in a rock.
That's a pretty accurate description. What have you been watching, Mr. Sunshine Rock?
What? Citrine. It's like sunshine in a rock. I've watched three things, John. Can you believe it? Another week has passed. Another three things have been watched. I'm going to start from oldest to newest. I'm going to first talk about a documentary because, you know, we got to lead it off with a documentary. I don't want to switch up the program too much. This is a documentary from 1990. It was actually filmed in 85 and 86, but it's called American Dream. And the movie follows the Hormel meat strike of Austin, Minnesota from 1985 to 86. I didn't even know that they call it
Hormel, the chili,
the ham, Spam.
They have blocked our account on Instagram because they make a ranch infused bacon. So I took a picture of it, tagged them, and said, "What the fuck are you thinking? No one needs this product under any circumstances anywhere. This is the reason why Americans suck." And then I was blocked.
I might try it. Anyways, I didn't know it was called Hormel. They call themselves Hormel, like Hormul.
Did not know that.
Hormel. But I call it Hormel because it's an EL. Anyways, this movie.
Same.
Same.
It's like Melfar, but with a horn at the front of it.
Yes.
Anyway.
I think. Anyways.
Chili, meat.
Spam. So the company keeps lowering the wages of the workers, and the local union decides they're going to take a stand. And the union decides, the local union, I have to make that clear because it comes up later. But they hire this guy who's known for being this, I don't know, labor strategist, something like that. His name is Ray Rogers, not to be confused with the cowboy Roy Rogers. But he previously, he was known across union circles, I guess, for helping lead strikes, strategic strikes against businesses. His big one was a textile company called J.P. Stevens and Company. Have you ever heard of the movie Norma Ray from the 70s?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
That story's kind of based on his story with this J.P. Stevens, and he also helped advise striking pilots for Northwest Airlines in the late 70s. Anyways, for Austin, Minnesota, Hormel was pretty much the only gig in town. So unless you worked at your own business or you worked at a diner or, push carts or stock shelves or whatever, you pretty much worked at Hormel. Like, everybody knew everybody that worked there because it was pretty much the whole town. It was like the company town. And so they go on this strike, and it gets to be really bitter, where family members are angry at each other. Over at the beginning, everybody's really gung-ho. Like, oh yeah, sure. Go us, labor. And then as the movie goes and the company starts to hire scabs and they start to choke out the union, it's like brother versus brother. It's almost civil war because some people decide to cross the picket line, some people don't. The local union people are the unioneers or whatever. They're super pissed off with their union, their local representation. Some of them want this Ray Rogers guy, some of them don't. It's this whole, it's literally real life drama, between all these people. It was really interesting. It's a great look at business in the 80s and American greed, corporate greed in the 80s. It's just there's no narrator or anything. It's just following different workers, different families, people, and the union efforts to get their pay raised. And they even go against the international union at some point because it's this whole thing. And the government sends in the National Guard. It's this whole, it's a good movie. You have to be in the mood for it. It's like a super serious kind of thing. It's not, there's no real comedy or anything. It's not,
though.
Yeah, it is. It's super interesting. It's just not, it's not lighthearted at all. So the next thing I'll talk about is newer. I'm going to talk about the trilogy of Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies. John, What's your opinion of Tom Holland as Spider-Man? Do you have an opinion? Have you seen any of them? Do you care?
He's in the last Avengers movie, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Spider-Man after Andrew Garfield.
So I've seen if he's whichever Avengers movies up to the one with the dude with the like fisty glove thing.
The fisty glove,
yeah, him.
Thanos.
The fisty glove, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen those, and I think I saw the one where he goes on like vacation to Washington, D.C. I don't know what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Homecoming. So. That's the first one. So we ended up watching the 3 Tom Holland ones up to this point because now the new one just came out and everybody was pumped to go see it. So I haven't seen it yet. They did. I've heard good things. I've heard different rankings. Like one of my daughters is really, I mean, she's into Spider-Man as much as anybody else in the family. She's probably the most into Spider-Man. And she's like, I think it goes in order 4, 1, 3, 2. I was like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, okay. And the other one said something else. And I don't know if my wife even said whatever. But we watched a bunch of Spider-Man this week. We watched like, those movies are like 2 hours each. It's like 6 hours of Spider-Man.
Marvel shit. Yeah.
But they didn't used to be that long.
All you, buddy. All you, buddy.
Spider-Man. I haven't seen any since Endgame.
I am pretty jaded about comic book movies, especially comic book movies that carry the Marvel, I guess, banner with them, just because I just dislike them that much right now. So really anything past where, with all due respect, anything that came out after, like basically after Thanos, I'm just kind of like, I don't fucking care. So I liked Spider-Man as a kid growing up. I liked some other comics as a kid growing up.
Not hurting my feelings. I don't care either way.
I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I mean, where I was going with this, like, pretty much, you want to like kill my interest in your movie, make a comic book movie, and I will have very little chance of watching it at this point. But
you know, they can't all be backwards.
I will say that's not helping. What I have seen of Tom Holland, is that it? Tom Holland? That's the kid's name?
Yep. Same guy who directed Child's Play.
Exactly. He's good as a Peter Parker from what I've seen of it. Like he fits the character. He looks the role. I don't know if she's still in them, but I like Marissa Tomei in those movies too, or what I saw of her in them. Might just be that I like Marissa Tomei, and that's fine also. I remember thinking those movies for what they were fine, but I don't like the Marvel playbook, which has kind of seeped its way into the Star Wars playbook. It's kind of ruined both franchise things for me. So
I think it's chicken and egg. We could have a discussion about which came first, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I haven't seen the new one. So anyways, that's all I was going to say. The last thing I'll talk about, the newest thing I'll talk about, Dark Side of the Ring. Of course, John, we're in Dark Side of the Ring season, so I have to talk about Dark Side of the Ring. It's just in my contract. This one was the Big Boss Man.
You have a contract?
I have to talk about Dark Side of the Ring when it's released. This one, Big Boss Man. In the late 80s, I would say Big Boss Man was my favorite WWF wrestler. I don't know if it was because we shared the same birthday or if it's because he's such a badass. And I learned through watching this that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, has my birthday too. So I'm in good company, I guess, depending on how you like that. We can be cool guys together or whatever.
It's like 50-50 on that.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of felt that way too. But, you know, you got to cling to whatever you can cling to. So this episode is basically, I mean, it follows the formula. It's basically a profile of him. They're going through the whole thing. It didn't seem like there was all that much dark side to him at all. He actually started out as a corrections officer. So he was like a prison guard, and he took they said he took 2 wrestling classes, and he was like, yeah, I can do this. And he basically started in NWA, and he played a character. He was Jim Cornette's bodyguard. He played Big Bubba Rogers, and that's who he was in NWA. And then after that, he bounced around, eventually joined WWF. And basically, they said that in WWF, he made as much in 1 week as he made in a full year as a corrections officer. So when he was in NWA, he was kind of struggling. They weren't paying him very well. And then he went to WWF at the time, and he starts making all this money. And it talks about his run in WWE, how then he went to WCW for a little while, and there were different gimmicks. He couldn't be Big Boss Man because Vince McMahon owns that name. So, you know, he comes back after a little while, bouncing around gimmicks. He comes back to WWE in the Attitude Era, And Vince McMahon, he basically is Vince McMahon's enforcer during this time. So he gets in when McMahon was getting in feuds with Stone Cold, Big Boss Man was kind of there as like the buffer. And he's supposed to have this push against Stone Cold, and he ends up missing the shot with Stone Cold. He was supposed to come and hit Stone Cold with a chair, but he was too busy talking to the Undertaker backstage. So it pissed everybody off. Yeah, it pissed everybody off, or it pissed McMahon off, and he kind of like lost his push because of that. And I mean, the episode's pretty even keel. Like the only thing they talked about briefly is he became addicted to somas for a little while, but his wife was like, "Listen, you can't do this."
What the fuck's a soma?
Soma's like a painkiller. It makes you
okay.
If you didn't know better, you would think that a person was like really tired. So it's hard to kind of tell if somebody's like on these, but he became addicted to this, and his wife was like, "You got to stop this." And he was like, "Okay." And then one day his wife's like, "Hey, we're going to go put the kids to bed." He had 2 kids. They were probably like under 10, maybe under 12. And he's like, "All right, I'll be up in a minute. My knees are really bothering me." She goes upstairs, puts the kids to bed, like reads to him for 30 minutes, comes back downstairs. He's dead. He just dies of a heart attack, 41, in his lounge chair. They said there's a history of it. Yeah, you know, as you do. So, John, that was Big Boss Man. Those are the 3 things I got to watch. What did you get to watch, John? Tell me what you've been watching.
I didn't do any wrestling, and I didn't do any documentaries, so I'm screwing this up. Already. I watched 2024 release called Slasher Size, which I went into it hoping it would be kind of another aerobic space slasher movie. In reality, it's pretty much like a modern version of Linnea Quigley's Horror Workout, just without Linnea Quigley. It's got some other girl, Vanessa Decker's like the lead person on it. And essentially it's the same formula. They do like they have a very, very loose like cut scene between each like workout that they're doing. They do bring in a couple like cameos, like Kelly Maroney and Felissa Rose are in it. Diana Prince is in it. So, and Joe Bob Briggs is in it. So you'll see it. If you watch it, you'll see a couple people that you'll recognize. But realistically, this is a hour-long exercise video with occasional like cuts where they show like someone gets stabbed or someone get like, you know, whatever. A horror movie thing happens for like 2 seconds between these. There's nothing really past that. And I was kind of disappointed. I was hoping to add another, you know, aerobics horror movie that we could, you know, reboot Sweaty January again, but I just don't think there's. In fairness, we did do a whole episode on Linnea Quigley's Horror Workout, but I'd be willing to bet that a good portion of that was just propelled by me being a Linnea Quigley fan, and I don't know that I got enough of that for another one of those that doesn't have her. So, moving on from that.
How long was it?
It's only an hour, 58 minutes.
That's so
it's short, yeah. So, and that was actually one of the selling points. I'm like, ooh, I'm like, horror-based exercise slasher movie, and it's only an hour long. This is gonna be great.
Yeah,
I was half right. So
this is gonna be. Is that the half that you were right on?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it was fine. It's not a hard watch. We'll put it that way. I like it better than some of the things that we've watched over the last. I don't know, this episode and the last one. So pivoting off of that, I saw that they put so you know I'm a Ghostbusters fan, and they put all the 90s cartoons. I think it's 90s. It might be 80s, but the real Ghostbusters cartoon that was on forever, the whole thing is on Tubi now. So I've been kind of watching through that. Biggest things I can take away from it. One, really funny that back when we were kids, like racist stereotypes were totally fine to just pepper into like kid shows and all kinds of shit, because there's shit in here that I'm like, I'm surprised that I would have been surprised if that had made it to the movie. And you're putting this on like, I think that was a Saturday morning TV, like cartoon show or something, or something like that. Yeah, like that's a weird audience. The whole plot is nonsensical in it, more so than most things that I say that about. Like it's literally just like these caricatures of the characters that we know pick up the phone and then they're just running around, you know, shooting shit and making shit up as they go, and that's fine. The animation's kind of cool though, like especially when you get to the ghosts and the monsters and stuff like that. Like those hold up well enough. Like it's got that like late 80s, early 90s like motion to it where it looks almost like stop motion, but it's not. It's just the animation's not that good. So it moves kind of slow. Things kind of like jump around a little bit and whatnot. But for whatever reason, like that part doesn't bother me. And the only other thing that I really gotta say, and I fucking hate the voice actors in this. I understand that you probably can't get, Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and so on to come in and do voice for this kids' TV show. But I don't understand why they chose voice actors that just sound they use a nicer word, dumb. Like, Venkman sounds like he's perpetually got like the sniffles. Ray's fine, I guess. He just sounds like, the fat guy character on a kid show. Winston, it sounds like a stereotypical, like if you had a white guy voicing a black person in 1990-ish, this is what Winston sounds like. And yeah, there's really nothing. I guess if you're watching this as like a, 6 to like 10-year-old or whatever the target demographic is for this show, it's probably fine. And I'm sure I didn't notice it then. I certainly loved it as a kid. Watching it as an adult, I'm like, this really isn't that great. So just kind of watching it like, all right. So
did you know?
It's easy to leave on and kind of putz around with. So probably not. What do I know?
I don't know. What do you know? Did you know Lorenzo Music was the voice of Peter Venkman, a.k.a. Garfield? Same voice.
I feel like I've heard that before, but I didn't know it off the top of my head. So
how could you not know anybody related to Garfield or Lorenzo Music?
He's got about the same level of enthusiasm with how he says things as Garfield has. Yeah. So it's not that
pretty much not
that far off. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I don't know if you have this or not, but for anyone who has that like Ghostbusters nostalgia bug, like I said, I've admitted to, it's worth putzing around with. Just I can't imagine too many adults are going to be like really invested. Let's see what happens next on the real Ghostbusters. I don't think that's happening, but it's easy enough I'm sure whether it's that or, He-Man or Transformers or whatever, going back to that shit's got its own sense of fun, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's the ticket.
Yep.
Then sticking with the vampire theme from the last couple weeks, I also watched Once Bitten, which is a Jim Carrey movie from 1985. Notably, before I think they allowed Jim Carrey to do things like make his own decisions, because he's not nearly as Jim Carrey as Jim Carrey usually is, both in how he dresses and how he acts. Like, he only has a couple minutes where he kind of gets like stupid. Most of the time, he kind of fits his character, and he's basically playing a horny teenager that somehow sneaks into a bar, and this like hot lady countess bites him, turns him into a vampire. And much like the Nick Cage one, Vampire's Kiss, I was talking about, the rest of the movie is basically him just fighting with being transformed into a vampire. It's not a quick transformation. It's about, it's an hour and 34-minute movie. The transformation's about an hour and 20 minutes of it, just him going through all that shit. The Nick Cage one is better because Nick Cage is better at being insane than Jim Carrey is. Just as a blanket statement, he's more fun at it. But this is fine. Like, for what is essentially like a teen vampire movie from 1985, you can do a hell of a lot worse. Like, most of the humor, although dated, it works. Like, there's nothing in this that's gonna make you say you have to go back and watch this movie again, or you have to buy a copy of it or anything like that. But there's also nothing in it that's gonna be like, I have to turn this off right away, or I can't even think about, it's kind of in that middle ground. So
it's not offensive.
It's fine. It's not offensive. Doesn't break the mold. Jim Carrey doing Jim Carrey things, but from a vampire standpoint. But that's all I got. I think it's time that we take a break and we come back and talk about Obsession.
I was going to ask, should we put a poll up and before anybody listens, what do they think our opinions are on this? But you've already given it away.
You edit the show. You can cut that out.
No, we're talking. I can't. This is part of the show.
Yeah, this is part of the show.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, we don't need to put a poll. I'm pretty sure. I actually have no idea where you're going to land on this one, but I'm quite positive on where I do. So
okay, well that's good.
You can find out. Though. We're gonna. Yeah. Well, so you know what? I don't always know that going into this. Sometimes I figure it out as we bullshit our way through it. So
okay,
not often, but there's some movies where I kind of go into it and figure it out as we talk through them. But this isn't one of them. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about Obsession.
We need to talk about our Patreon.
Do we have to?
Yes. $5 a month makes you a hot dogger. You get early episodes, Discord access, and the ability to vote on stuff we'll probably ignore.
$10 makes you a butthorn, which honestly is worth it just to say you're a butthorn. You also get watch-alongs, episode requests, and monthly recs from two people with questionable taste.
And $15? Congratulations, you're a dirt biking dickhead. You get everything else plus Pod Monster Vision, trailer reactions, and we will say your name out loud once a month like you're being summoned.
So really you're paying us to hang out with us more.
Which says a lot about you, honestly.
Patreon.com/DeweyPodMonster.
Come be a dickhead. We mean that with love. Hey, if you love unpredictable conversations, weird hobbies, TV obsessions, music rabbit holes, and all the stuff you didn't even know you cared about, you've got to check out WTF Are You Doing? That's the podcast where hosts Hearn Dizzle and E. Biddy just talk about whatever the f*** they're into. One week it's reality shows. The next it's ranking fast food mascots. And sometimes it's just pure creative chaos. You can check them out and all the other great shows on the You Run Podcast Network at yourunpodcast.com.
So we are back, and as mentioned, we're going to be talking about the movie Obsession. We're going to start with a third-party review, and this third-party review comes from Eva L. I'll say, for all the movies that I have a hard time finding reviews on, this one was kind of the hardest because the vast majority of reviews are just blanket statements saying this is the best film ever, absolute masterpiece, totally original idea, which I do not agree with at all, whatever. This one's closest thing to like being in the middle that I could find. And Eva says, I thought this was going to be better than I thought. Very mid and disappointing. She says she gives it 2.5 out of 5 stars. So now that Eva has told us that she thought this was going to be better than she thought, Sean, do you want to tell us what this movie is about?
Yeah, so for that, I go to this super secret website, imdb.com.
Pornhub.
No, imdb.com.
No.
And I type in the word obsession. It's one word. And it brings up this says it was filmed in 2025. It was released in 2026, though. It gets an R rating. It's an hour.
It hit the it hit
49
the festival
minutes.
circuit last year. That's why sorry.
It's okay. Hour and 49 minutes long. It gets a 6. It gets a 7.9 out of 10 with 283,000 ratings. And John, this is another one on the popularity scale. It is at number 3, I think. It's a red arrow going down. It says 3. And next to it, it's like a little carrot pointing down. It says 1. So I'm assuming that means it dropped. So it was 2.
That would be my assumption as well, that it dropped from 2 to 3.
Yeah. So we go to this thing on the top. The Wishing Willow told me that I had to read what was on top first, so I'm going to read it. They wouldn't put it up there if I wasn't supposed to read it first. This says, Baron Bear Bailey breaks a novelty charm to force his coworker Nikki Freeman to love him. But the supernatural compulsion warps her mind into violent obsession, trapping him in a nightmare he cannot wish away. And if we scroll on down, we get to the storyline. And the storyline for Obsession, if I can find it. Why did I lose it? Where is it? Where are you? Where are you? It says, the storyline says, a male retail store. Oh, I'm sorry. This comes care of Quill and Camera. Quill and Camera says, a male retail store worker utilizes a magical charm to completely erase a female colleague's free will and force an artificial romantic relationship. As the spell takes effect, it triggers a severe, gradual erosion of the female character's sanity and physical independence. The male protagonist remains entirely passive, while the supernatural entity claims absolute physical control over her mind and body.
Do you want a cliff notes before we over and talk about the cast?
John, I would love to hear your cliff notes. Cliff them.
My cliff notes is this movie is basically the episode of The Simpsons where Homer gets the monkey paw and makes wishes that go horribly wrong, except this movie's not fun.
Okay.
So, who's in this movie?
Well, this movie
Or do you have a cliff notes that you want to talk about?
I wasn't prepared. I don't think I wrote. Oh, no, I did write something. John, thanks for reminding me. What I wrote was, Bear is a lovable loser type who has a crush on a friend/coworker who he can't find the right time to tell her how he feels. He goes into a hippy-dippy store and buys her a One-Wish Willow novelty toy, but after he loses his nerve again to give it to her, he uses it and wishes that she would love him more than anyone else in the world. She immediately becomes infatuated with him in more weird and dark ways.
And who is she? Who is in this movie that we want to make reference to?
All right. So this has a few people in the cast that you may or may not recognize. These are the people that I was able to pick out. I don't really recognize many of them, but I went through their cast list and picked stuff that they were in. So we have Michael Johnston, who plays Bear. He was in the TV series Teen Wolf and something called The Dark Tapes. We have Inde Navarrette, who plays Nikki. She was in Superman and Lois and the Netflix original 13 Reasons Why. We have Andy Richter, who plays Carter. He was obviously on Late Night with Conan O'Brien, Arrested Development, Madagascar, and Andy Richter Controls the Universe. We have Cooper Tomlinson, who plays Ian. He was in a short called Milk and Cereal and something called The Chair. He was in The Chair all day. And then we have Megan Lawless, who plays Sarah. She was in the Purge TV show. And it says here she was also in Cobra Kai, but I don't know if I recognize her. But it's been a few years since I've watched Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I don't remember her from that either. But okay, just to kind of throw it out there for whoever needs to hear it. I don't know if it matters. This is another YouTube creator turned filmmaker. The Chair was, I believe, his first movie that he made, and I know most of his stuff is with the guy who plays Ian. Cooper Tomlinson's like his partner in crime, I guess you could say.
Main dude.
Yeah. So this is basically his first feature film, and it's doing quite well. So
budget of $750,000, worldwide gross to date $459 million.
That's a good return on investment, you might say.
That's a little. So, he's doing all right, yeah. I guess.
Yeah, I would think so. I guess that's as good a place as any to kind of start. So I know neither of us had seen this movie going into this week. It's only been out for theatrically for a couple months, aside from what it did last year in the film circuit, film circuit shit stuff. Mine went stupid there. Movies, things. Anyway, did you go into this with any expectations?
Not really. Like I said last week when we talked about Backrooms, my kid has been seeing movies more with her friends and things, and they're kind of, I don't know if they're necessarily like drawn towards horror movies or whatnot, but it's like, this Backrooms are like the hot movie du jour, the thing that people are going to see.
Closer to their generation. I could see, like, whether you relate to it or not, like, I'm pretty sure if a 20-year-old was making a major theatrical release when I was a teenager, I'd be more interested in that because it's not coming, like, Stanley Kubrick's great, but he's old and fucking dumb or something like that would be the type of shit I would say. So I'm sure I can understand that. So. Yeah,
I think it's more of that. It's just the movie that everybody's talking about. I think that's my opinion.
Probable too.
But anyways, my kid went and saw it a couple weeks ago, and she was, I was like, I was kind of interested. I had heard things about it. I was interested in seeing it, and I was like, hey, so how was the movie? And she's like, it wasn't that scary. I'm like, really? She's like, no. She's totally freaked out by people vomiting. So there's a few scenes in this movie, and I don't know how spoilery we're going to get. So I feel like if you haven't seen this movie, if you're interested in seeing this movie, maybe you see the movie
Yeah, let's just
first.
put it out there now.
Yeah. We're going to probably, it's kind of the main thing, right? And so she was like, she walked out of the theater a couple times. So because she had heard when these points of the movie were going to come up where somebody's going to be puking, and she didn't want to be there for it. And then my other daughter later told me that she was like, she was pretty freaked out by the movie. Like it. And then my older daughter, the one that went and saw it, was like, yeah, I do have trouble sleeping sometimes when I think about this movie. It's like, okay. I mean, so that's my expectation, is just like what she had told me. And I don't know, like we don't watch horror movies together. We've watched Scream and we've watched a few things, but I don't know enough about her kind of movie habits, at least
Taste
for horror. Yeah. And I feel like I'm getting a little bit more, I'm understanding a little bit more as we've talked about these two new movies that she's seen, and we've kind of talked about it after the fact. But yeah, so we didn't talk about this movie. I was like, she's trying to tell me, I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything you have to tell me. I'm not going to watch a trailer. I don't want to hear anything about, I just want to go into this fresh and form my own opinion on it. So that's really, you hear the discourse and stuff online, but I didn't know really much about the movie besides it was a young director that was like a YouTube creator and moved over to feature films and stuff. So that's really all I knew about it.
Yeah, I'm not far. So the children aspect, the side of it, I'm not far off from you. I tried to go into it fresh. I really wanted to, like, get on the hype train for this movie. So I tried. I had heard probably the same type of thing you did, that, people are just jerking off all over this movie, loving the shit out of it.
I didn't hear that.
It's saving the horror. It's saving the horror genre again. Art the Clown is now dead. It's been replaced with Obsession, and that's fine, I guess. That's going to go ahead and just bring us to what we thought about this, and we'll go ahead and start. I don't care where you want to go with this. You want to be happy to start with this? Talk positives? Do you want to talk negatives, or just fucking unload on it? Where do we want to start?
Well, I mean, I'm going to just lay my hand on the table here and tell you that if we start with the dislikes, I'm not going to have much to talk about.
Okay. So if we start with the likes, I'm not going to have much to talk about.
Yeah, I know. I think we're kind of polar opposite on this movie.
Oh, I'm not shocked. So I'll say one thing I'll give a couple things that I'll say that I liked. I think this movie looks great. Like, I don't have any problem with that. Like, it's shot well. Like that they purposely chose to use a weird aspect ratio for the movie. I think that was a not necessary choice, but after realizing, I'm like, I guess that's cool. And more than anything, the girl that plays Nikki gives a hell of a performance in this. I mean, this girl does pretty much every emotion that I'm pretty sure she does almost every emotion that you can, conjure up in the span of, what is this, an hour and 40 minutes, hour 50 minutes, however long this movie is. Yeah. She goes through the whole gambit of emotions in this, and I think she does it pretty well. Like, I don't really have any complaint about that. And I was glad to see Andy Richter in this. I wish they would have had more for him to do. Like, he really only kind of
he's pretty much
walks on screen. Yeah, he walks in and out screen a handful of times. Apparently, he's, I guess, Sarah's mom in the movie, which I don't know that matters. But
Sarah's mom
or Sarah's dad. Sorry, whatever.
You never know.
It doesn't really matter. I would have liked to have just seen more of him, just because was Conan the last thing that we saw Andy Richter in? I'm not really sure. His TV show, because he's not on his current thing that he's doing with it, where he's interviewing people, like his podcast TV series thing.
I mean, I saw the Andy Richter show that I mentioned, Andy Richter Saves the World or whatever it's called. I did see that, but that was right after he left Conan. I feel like I've seen him in other stuff. I know I did see him in Dancing with the Stars. I'll throw that out there. So I know he's alive, and right. I think he's. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen a lot more too. I would agree with you.
I like him in general. So
yeah,
anytime that he pops up in something, that's almost, I can't think of a time where that's in. So how about you? Go ahead and you can take the wheel here, and then I'll steal the wheel back from me when we
drive us off a cliff afterwards. So
yeah, pretty promptly, I'm sure. So
I do want to agree with you. I will agree with you on the performance of Nikki. I think that she does, like you said, an excellent job. It's a character that must be a lot of fun to play. Like the way that you get to act all, like you said, you get to act all these different emotions. There's a lot of, I don't think they're freeze frames, but the character has to freeze her face there's one shot I can think of in particular where it's just she's got this perma grin on her face, and she's just standing in front of the camera for 10 seconds, not flinching at all. And I was like, you gotta be pretty, you gotta have some pretty good willpower to just stand there. I also agree with you. I think that the way this movie is shot is really pretty cool. I like the way that it's not just one scene. It's not just one part. A lot of the movies it's got that dark, those orange or brown or dark green palette, colors to it. There's a lot of stuff that's obscured by darkness. There's a scene where Nikki comes over to Bear's house, the second night or whatever after the wish has been granted, and she's in that red dress or something, and all you can see is the reflections on her eyes of the light that's in the house. And it's that's such a cool shot. There's another one where there's a night scene where Bear's sleeping and he wakes up and she's not in bed. And she calls out to him oh, it's, Bear, are you awake, or to go back to sleep or whatever? And she's just in a corner of her room and you can't really see her. But then when she kind of emerges from it, it's it adds that kind of eeriness to it. It's again, kind of like Backrooms. It's got that unease to it. It's got that, just kind of this creepy,
unsettling feeling.
Yeah, unsettling kind of look to it. So I thought that was really smart to have all these different scenes where a lot of the movie is in the dark or it's at nighttime or whatever. And I think it looked really good for that. You can kind of go into everything looking muddy if you're not super careful. And I think it's shot really well in that respect. I like that initially. So the beginning of the movie starts and they're at like bar trivia. Ian, Bear's friend, is like, he gets hard over bar trivia or whatever. Like every Wednesday night he wakes up rock hard because it's trivia night. And they're all kind of playing trivia in this bar. And you can tell there's chemistry between Bear and Nikki, but you're not quite sure like if it's just friendship, if it's like something more. And then Bear, like I said, he's just kind of that loser type character that he just can't he can't push himself into telling her that how he feels. And there's that chemistry there. You feel like they're friends. And I also kind of like the Bear character because his reactions to things, when there's again a scene at the beginning of the movie after he kind of breaks the One-Wish Willow, he doesn't know yet that it granted his wish. He's kind of like, whoa, this is really weird because she's actually being really nice to me. And not that she wasn't nice, but she gets in the bed and she asks him to come to bed with him or with her. And he just kind of looks he doesn't look at the camera, but he looks in the direction that the camera is shooting, and he just makes his face like he's just bewildered, like, oh my God, what am I going to, is this real? Is this really happening? So I like his reactions. I guess that pushes me into saying that while the movie can be very dark and can be kind of brutal at times, there is elements of humor throughout that they kind of sprinkle in. Like characters will say some line. Nikki will say a line that's kind of offsetting what she's actually doing. There's the scene at the party where they're all kind of sitting around a table, drinking, playing like this Jenga game where you take a block off and it has a thing that it's like a truth or dare kind of thing. You're supposed to do what's on the block. And that scene, she's got a totally different personality now from what all of her friends are thinking. Again, that kind of feeds into the whole Nikki factor of just being a really good actress, a really good character in this movie. And I'll also say, I'll wrap up my likes and let you get to the driving into oncoming traffic here in a second. I think that while the effects are pretty sparse, like there are these really big bursts of blood and effects and, reversing the film to make it look like somebody's walking really weirdly or something.
They do that one a lot. It works.
It does.
They do that one a lot, but it works. So whatever.
Yeah, it makes it adds to the unease, unsettling kind of feel to it. And I think that while they're spare, when they do them, they hit the mark. And I was pretty impressed that, a movie with this low of a budget does a pretty good job. There's a scene, again, I'm just kind of referencing scenes because there's like specific examples, but the scene at the end or near the end in the car when Bear and the other person are talking in the car and Nikki comes and rushes into the scene, and that whole, like, all the action that happens there, it's like, oh man, that is brutal. I mean, it doesn't look real, but it doesn't look horribly awful, at the same time. So I gotta give it some props because I think a lot of that is practical. I mean, reversing film that's a technique as old as filmmaking itself. So yeah, those are most of my likes. I didn't want to like write down a gazillion things, but I know I just talked for like 15 minutes about it.
No, you're fine. I will say that the practical effects, when they did choose to use them, I thought they looked pretty good, especially when you're dealing with the stuff. Well, the majority of the stuff involves Nikki in this movie. There's probably 6 characters in this movie, but it really revolves around 2. There's more people in the movie, but there's like character-wise, not a lot. Yeah. But it really revolves around Bear and Nikki. That's the whole story right there. And most of the practical effects involve something with Nikki, and I think that they did. I have no complaints with that. Like, that's absolutely fine. So where my complaints start is primarily around Bear. I fucking hate this character. I would rather watch Black Double Doll from Hell on an infinite loop than watch Bear again. Who would? The reason why is I have a character like Bear in my family, and I want to throw him off the roof of a tall building every time I have to deal with them. So seeing characters like this, obviously, maybe not obviously, but thankfully they don't go this far off the whole obsession end with it. But having to live through people who are this stupid, as that you cannot just, Wally Pip out of your life one way or another. It made this movie fucking insufferable for me. And although I praise Nikki's performance because she's everything she's doing, she's executing well, she's doing well, yada yada. I fucking hate her because she's just as obnoxious as Bear, and her things that she does that are obnoxious reinforce why I fucking hate Bear, because at the end of the day, he's a whiny bitch who doesn't have the balls to open his mouth and say what the fuck he wants to say. Even at the beginning of the movie, she gives him a fucking opening to go get her without this wish stick thing that he like snaps on.
Yeah.
And he just whiffs on it. He's like, no, whatever. And then by the end of the movie, spoilers for, again, he has this other girl who's like throwing herself at him essentially. And of course, you know, obviously there's other reasons why. I mean, my biggest complaint about this movie is that Sarah got to leave the movie before I did. That's the biggest complaint I have with this movie, is that, well, at least she got out of the fucking movie. That's, I mean, in a nutshell, that's the thing that this movie, that's the cardinal sin in this movie, that this movie, nothing else in this movie matters to me, because I hate that characters that we're following so fucking much that every second they're on screen, which is almost every second of the movie, I just want to break my TV. I just fucking hate them that much. So the other thing that I feel is kind of a knock on this, and this is like this would probably be, in most movies, this would be more of a nitpick. For this movie, I'm calling it a dislike because I hate this movie. This is nothing we haven't seen before. Like, it takes some different turns. It plays it a little bit differently, but the whole like make a wish and then it comes true, but like not the way you intended. I used The Simpsons as a reference, and then one of the things I was watching before we recorded, turns out that's where the idea of this movie came from, is whatever the kid's name, whatever is Baker, whatever.
Yeah.
He was
Curry
watching
Baker.
that episode, and yeah, he decided to, he said he saw that episode,
It's like direct inspiration.
singled out that episode, and took direct inspiration from it, which I didn't know that when I wrote that down in my notes, but I was like, well, at least I didn't make that shit up. But I mean, even past that, like, it's that fucking monkey movie, that not Primate.
Monkey.
Yeah, that one.
Shakama.
That's got a wish. I wish. I mean, it's not like this is a concept that we haven't seen before. And again, if I like the movie more, I'd probably overlook that, because I like slasher movies. We've seen those before. I like zombie movies. We've seen those. So that's not a cardinal sin by any stretch. But the fact that like I already hate just about everything else going on in this movie, at least with our main characters,
makes it hard to redeem.
It doesn't help. Past that, the only other thing I can say, and this is probably all piggybacking on my hatred of characters in this, of the characters that we're given in this, is when Nikki isn't being psycho, for lack of better wording, there's really not a lot of shit going on that's interesting. Like, if you take any of the time where Bear's by himself and he's, you know, I was going to say something, but I don't want to totally ruin some of the surprises in this movie. Any of the scenes where Nikki is not part of what's going on, aside from him being an unlikable twat, he doesn't do shit that's interesting. He calls the voodoo stick hotline. That goes poorly. Oh, look at that. He's sitting at the bar being a schlub, bitching that Nikki doesn't love him so, even though she's fucking obsessed with him. Like, I fucking hate this character. Sorry, that's really the crux of it. So what about you? Were there things that you had to nitpick or didn't like about this?
Well,
I didn't go as long. I only went like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
So.
I appreciate that. I mean, I think I felt like watching this movie, the control, and I'm going to get to the control when I come to my conclusion, but like the control that Nikki has over Bear, because she is so obsessed, it feels like, I hope my wife doesn't listen to this, it feels like being married. Like, someone constantly on you. Where are you? Are you coming home? Check in, you know, all that shit. That was like, it got to be a little overbearing to me. I understand that the movie's supposed to be about this like undying obsession because she can't control it, but goddamn, man, it gets kind of over the top. You're like, ugh. And when I watched the movie and I thought about it, I was like, I feel like an hour and 50. It is a little long, but I felt like it worked. But thinking back on it now, like I don't know what they could have cut out. I'll preface it with that. But I think because it goes so long, it starts to get so over the top where you're just like, oh my God, okay, I get it. Like, she's obsessed. You know, the movie's called Obsession.
Yeah. I didn't feel the need to bitch about the runtime because, again, if I can't get past the biggest items in this movie, the runtime's irrelevant. This movie could have been 15 minutes long and I would have felt like it was too long. So I'm not even throwing in on that. Now, if I pretend that like I like these characters or that these characters are holding my interest or not making me want to like
gouge your eyes out.
Sarah myself out of the movie, of the things I didn't like about this movie, the runtime wasn't really something that I noticed. So take that as a compliment, I guess. Because usually I bitch about runtime.
Yeah.
Usually I bitch about runtime more than you do. So I guess that's fine.
And I do, you know, I'll save it. I'll save it for my conclusion.
Well, let's wrap up then, because I don't have a lot else. Otherwise, I'm just going to repeat myself that Bear's a dick.
Then you're in for a big treat, bro. Because it's hot dog time.
I'll go first since I don't think there's going to be any surprise here at all. I fucking hate this movie. I don't ever want to watch it again. No hot dogs. Fuck Bear and everyone who looks like Bear. Nikki, terrible character, great actress. Hope she gets all the movies in the future. And I will say that even though I have problems with this movie and hate it, I am looking forward to whatever Curry Parker does with Texas Chainsaw Massacre if he actually gets that. So,
oh, that's right. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
Or whatever he does next for that matter. Because as much as I hate these two characters, there's obviously a good filmmaker in this movie.
And
so
both
I'm willing to give whatever.
Really well shot. So I get it.
Whose hot dog is this, huh? Is it yours?
All right, so it's my hot dog. I'm going to say this movie is extremely freaky. I don't know. It freaked me out a little bit. I felt it was a really interesting concept that the obsession and her love is like its own form of control. Bear, he wants her to love him. He, as John said, he breaks the wish stick and he gets what he wishes for. And he gets control of Nikki's emotions, but at the same time, he's getting controlled ultimately. So it's kind of like this, I don't know, this gender bending kind of movie. You know, most movies are like, oh, the guy or in society, yeah, men are so controlling. It's like he wants something so badly, and when he finally gets it, it's like, I don't want this anymore. This is too much. So from the movie's gory, it's shocking. I felt it was shocking. I think its underlying feel of unease and kind of, you know, this weird, creepy feeling throughout is just something I really enjoyed. It starts out normal, but as it goes on, even in bright spots, you feel that something bad is going to happen. It's like this underlying dread throughout the entire movie. It's like I used to watch Breaking Bad, and that's one of those shows where it's like, even when something is going good, you kind of feel like something on the other side of it's going to go bad, like immediately after. And it didn't always happen, but in this movie, every time something good happens, something equally or worse happens to kind of counterbalance it. That's what I really liked about the movie. For me, I thought it just took creepy to a whole new level. I'd give it a full hot dog. I feel like it's, you know, I understand where you're coming from 100%. If it's a character that you're just like, you don't jive with, or someone that you know that you can't stand, I could understand how this would be a very difficult movie to watch. So I don't like begrudge you or anything for not liking it. I mean, it is what it is, but I totally get where you're coming from. But for me, I really enjoyed it.
I should say, and I don't want to give details on what I'm about to say. I'm just going to put it out there. So if you haven't watched this, please watch this and get the full effect of it. I love the end of this movie for Nikki's character specifically, because you more so than me. You like a really dark ending. This ending is fucking dark.
Oh yeah,
like
super dark.
This is about as dark an ending as you. And again, there's one ending, but what happens with Bear's character, I mean, fucking should have done that in an hour and 30 minutes ago,
he gets such the easy way out.
I know. But what happens to her character as a result of what he did, I mean, regardless of the fact that, I mean, he was a dick in the movie anyway, but just what he leaves her with at the end of this movie, it's like, holy fuck. Like, there's no positive for this character. Like, there's no redemption, like, at all.
No.
So I will say that I like the way that it ends for her character specifically, because it's so, like, what the fuck.
Yeah.
But
it's a big WTF end for sure.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it coming when it happens. You know, you're like, oh no, because
you almost put the pieces together from about the halfway point of the movie up until when it finally happens. But the benefit to it is there's a lot of shit that goes on from when you kind of know where it's going to go to when it gets there. That just makes it so much worse for her. So
dig it.
So, did you forget anything that you need to sprinkle in at the end here? Apparently I did. So
no.
All right. Well, if you like this episode, want to hear me bitch about more good movies, or hear me love on terrible movies, or sometimes Sean does the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever.
I do a lot.
more of what we do, you can find us all over the place. We're on all the social media networks. We're at Dewey Monster, with the exception of Blue Sky, where we are at crap.town. What's crap.town? Crap.town is us. We are crap.town. You can go to crap.town. That's our website. All of our old episodes, new episodes, and you can leave us feedback on there. Anything you want to hear us talk about. If you want to yell at me because I think Bear is a puss, whatever, that's fine. You can send it all through there. We have the Patreon. We are a crowd-supported show. Anyone who's joined already, we do appreciate you and thank you. We have different levels that you can join at, different memberships or whatever they're called on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/DeweyPodmonster, and we are talking about trying to add more to that to keep it up because, quite frankly, we need to. We have a YouTube page, so head over to youtube.com/DeweyPodmonster. If you just can't get enough of hearing us and need to see us too for some reason, you can do it there.
We are handsome.
All of our episodes are on there. Probably forgetting something, but Sean, go ahead, fill us in, bring us home. Good stuff.
Yeah, so I was going to add, if you want to hear or watch any of the things that we talked about earlier in the show, we do leave show notes on every episode. We try to link to everything that we talk about. We try to link to as much stuff as possible for free, because I don't know of any other show in the cosmos, the universe, the whole existence of life in places that link to more free stuff than we do. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. Most of that stuff will be free. If we can't make it free, we're going to probably link it on Amazon. You can tell it'll say Amazon in parentheses after the title, after the link. You click those links, the Amazon links, that is. You go and you buy something on Amazon. We get a little cut of that, and that makes me happy. And if you're not sure about the show notes, where to find them, they're on your podcast player. Usually there's little notes. I know Pocket Casts has them. Apple Podcast has them. Our website has them. If you don't know where to find them on your podcast player, go to crap.town. You can find those little links, those show notes. Read what we have to write because it's amazing. You can also find me on Blue Sky exclusively at internalbleeding.crap.town. You can find me there. I post every once in a while. Bread clips. Need to find out what the bread clips are all about, John. John, back to you.
All right, well, that's all we got for this week. Gonna go watch something without Bear in it. Maybe I'll watch Grizzly. Grizzly's pretty good. That's got a bear in it that doesn't bitch at all. Until then, we'll be back next week. Swell up, Butthorns. Have a good week.
Bird season's over, Butthorn.
We're going to come back and we're going to talk about obsession. Obsession.
Dun, dun, dun.
How they should say it.
Obsession.
Dun, dun, dun. By electrolyteless water. Fucking porn.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Plebeian water.
All right, so we're back. Wait, what?
Plebeian water.
What kind of?
Plebeian.